Wow, man, the world is like upside down. I was really hoping to talk about my launch of stuff here in 2021, but uh, I guess I'm going to do one more rant on empathy and self awareness after yesterday. Check it out. Hi, Brant Cooper here. I'm fortunate I get to travel around the world speaking with startup founders, investors, ecosystem developers. I've learned a lot in my travels. I've got some stories, and I have some thinking that I love to share. Welcome to Brant's Rant. The first 5 days of 2021 were awesome. I was hoping to spend the rant this week uh, talking about what was in store for 2021. Uh, in terms of me and my business and my book and all the rest. And man, yesterday I got nothing done. I was just enthralled by and really disturbed by what went down in the Capitol yesterday. To be honest, it's hard for me not to think of my dad, who passed a couple of years ago, who served in the Navy for 22 years, and ancestors back to the Revolutionary War that literally fought for the Constitution that these insurgents were trying to destroy. And so it's really hard for me to focus on the optimism of 2021, though I do think that there's a lot to be optimistic about. And I think in the end, what I'm going to get to this year is really talk a lot about mindset. And I've been talking about mindset quite a bit, obviously. But we get to choose how we view the world. We get to change those views if we want as well, and we shouldn't be reticent to. We shouldn't be scared to. You can view the rest of the world or people being dumb and you're smart. You can view people being evil and you're good. You can view other people as being not in the know, but you're in the know. I think that there's a lot of benefit to. I don't even know what the right word for it is. It's not optimistic. It's because there's a lot of realism built into just simply believing that the people that you interact with are smart, who want to live meaningful, ethical lives, who are willing to learn. And I think that it's often difficult when we think of things from the macro perspective, from thinking about societies and these whole swaths of people, to just sort of dismiss people as being less smart and less ethical, and then I think that actually infects our behavior if we have those viewpoints. And so it's certainly understandable, and I do it all the time. I certainly felt that way yesterday, and I think it's like reasonable to think that most of those clowns that like went into the Capitol really are sort of the dregs of society. This is not the cream of the crop, but a lot of the senators and Congress people who basically supported their efforts, they are intelligent people, and I think that they do know what's up. And so it's very cynical to act in a way that is not ethical, that is taking advantage of other people. But that's not really what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is, if you approach the world in a way that again, the people that you're interacting with and that you work with are smart and are ethical and are willing to learn, then that opens up all sorts of possibilities for yourself and how you interact with those people. And fundamentally, that it kind of does get back to the five elements, right? It's about empathy and going into explore mode when you don't know, and it's learning how to balance those two things in your life or in your work, and it's about letting evidence, data, and insights and facts influence our decisions. And then also, ensuring that we actually hold to our values. And in order to hold to our values, we have to be super self aware. And we have to then question ourselves first before we're questioning other people. So, my dad was one of these guys that was just so incredibly principled. And he would just hold his behavior to those principles. To be honest, almost to a fault. And but that it's just such a powerful ethos that I'm so fortunate enough that was passed down to me, I think, and I don't think I'm even as good as it as my dad was. Um, but there's no such thing as values or ethics if we're not able to question ourselves, be self-aware, hold ourselves accountable, right? I mean, so human beings are these incredible rationalization and denial machines, and we could talk ourselves out of ethical behavior all the time just because we know we're not going to get caught, or we know that oh well it's not going to be as bad as everybody says, or it's just too hard in terms of social or peer pressure to ourselves hold ourselves accountable to what we truly believe. But it's so powerful when you do it. It's freedom. I mean, that's what freedom is, actually. Being able to hold ourselves accountable to our own values is freedom. It allows you to approach problems in the world, problems at work, problems at home, with an open mind and a willingness to admit that you don't know and that you don't have to know, that we can be wrong, that we can try and fail. And sort of that level of self-awareness about those things is what allows us to try again. It's what allows us to be willing to fail small so that we figure stuff out. uh, and so I just it's like the most powerful three words in the world is I don't know. I do like almost a podcast a week, and I'm always asked to predict the future. And I always answer, I don't know. Entrepreneurs ask me about whether this product is any good, and I go, I don't know. It's like I'm not in your market. I don't know is a great first phrase that allows a deeper conversation into exploring, into learning, in receiving information that actually helps me analyze and figure stuff out and know what other questions to ask. All of these pundits and experts saying, that, yesterday wasn't going to happen and everybody was overreacting. It's These are the people that don't know, and yet they're not willing to admit it. There's a reward that they get from the sense of being important for being in the know, even when they don't know. They get rewarded for having an opinion and being experts when they don't truly know. But the reward is just sort of the short-term affirmation and sort of people following them and retweeting them and all of these type of things when they don't know. And they'll never admit I don't know. And there's no repercussions for them knowing wrongly. But so we also then can't be passive. We have to be mentally engaged and not just follow along with that stuff, and not just follow along with uh, that these things are inevitable, or that our bosses are going to make the wrong decisions, or leaders are not bought into our programs. We can't just be passive about that. We have to be self-aware to admit when we were wrong, we used the wrong approach, we haven't sold it properly. All products and services are getting people to change their behavior. They're starting with one way of doing it, and we're trying to get them to do it a different way. People do change. They change their minds, they change behaviors, or we wouldn't be able to sell our products and services. And this is why the empathy component of the 5 E's is so important. It doesn't mean hugging somebody. I mean, you can if you want and they want it. That's great. That's like this intimacy that is maybe a response to a connection brought about by empathy, but it's not empathy itself. Empathy itself is understanding what motivates the people and what's their background that influences their decision making process. It's why they do what they do. And the more that you understand that, that allows you to formulate what your response is to any particular issue. If you're trying to sell them on an innovation program, understanding how their background and their experiences and why they make the decisions that they do and what their priorities are, that's going to enable you to pitch your ideas better because you understand where they're coming from. And so I know I've talked about, like, you guys are all probably tired of the word empathy, but you have to understand the word in the terms that it benefits you as the individual. Even though the act of developing empathy is understanding somebody else, you're doing it for your own purpose. There's a selfish aspect to developing empathy, and that's okay. And it's at the heart of this mindset change. And so it's not just all this kumbaya, can't we all just get along? I'll hug you, you hug me, the Barney philosophy. It's like, we're not talking purple dinosaurs here. I do want people to have those relationships if that's what's right for them. But the purpose of the empathy is to empower ourselves to do the right thing. Whether that's selling the right product that creates value, or it's, not following them because they're of their own biases, or whatever we want to use that for. Whatever you want to use that for. As long as it's creating value in the world, that's the other thing, that's the ethics that we want to hold on to. So we develop empathy and we explore solutions in order to create value for either those people, the market segment, some constituency, some group of stakeholders. And I think that that's the winning formula. I mean, I think that you can do that in order to create wealth, as long as you're focused on the creating value part. You can do that to make a better world. You can do that to make your family more functional. You can do that in order to improve your business. You can do that in order to transform your business. It's the key, I'm telling you. Title of video, the key to life. All right, next week we're going to talk about what's coming in 2021. Be safe. Hey, thanks for listening to Brant's Rant. If we're choosing capitalism here as a society, then let's make it work for a better world. If you'd like to join me as we redefine capitalism for the 21st century, go to beatcoop.co/D4A. Also, if you have a pressing issue that you're facing in your innovation group, your product group, your startup, and want to join me on video, see the link below. Subscribe, like, see you next time.